So Europecore is all over my feed right now. Pretty pictures and videos along the seaside coast, linen shirts, lemon dresses, wine and pasta. European summer is upon us, or at least we are all collectively pretending to afford one. In this economy, it is most probably to remain a dream, with the ticket prices rising and Airbnbs costing like 5-star hotels now. For those of us who are not billionaires, European summer is limited only to the clothes that we wear and nothing more. Because every word nowadays has to have a core at the end, let's try to dissect why Europecore summer is so popular right now, what it entitles, and how it's linked with how society is societying right now. European summer aesthetics is weird because it's not what Europeans are wearing in the summer, but what Americans think that Europeans are wearing in the summer. We all gotta push it through an westernized American lenses, alright ladies? These are the rules. But basically it consists of silk two-piece outfits, vintage pieces, white lace skirts, oversized shirts, linen trousers, strapless tops, hair bandanas, silk skirts, and floral dresses. Very old money, very cottagecore, very dark academia, very coquette, etc., etc. Not only that, but the girls are also dressing up their boyfriends in the European style. And of course, there are a lot of videos explaining how to make your boyfriend wear what you want. Very not weird and invalidating of your partner's autonomy at all. This would generally be a fanny pack, loafers, linen set, tote bag, best shorts, and tight sweater over the shoulders. People are making videos for their pretend holidays to Europe because most of us cannot afford it. So instead, you can just pretend to pack for your imaginary holiday and post it on TikTok. And videos like that are 1,000 on all social media platforms. It erroneously creates an idea that everybody nowadays is going to Amalfi, when in reality, no, they're not. People sometimes lie on the internet for attention. Shocker. So why is European summer so trendy right now? Mostly it's because during the last few years we had so many travel restrictions that now when it's finally allowed, people are traveling more than ever. Even those that were not really into traveling before 2020 are now booking all of the possible flights, because if you prohibit someone to do something, then they will want to do it even more. So all of those postponing their travels from year to year after having all of those restrictions imposed to us, I guess now everybody has the mentality of traveling while you're still allowed to do so. I mean, for all we know, new global events can happen any minute now, new unprecedented times can arise, so we might as well enjoy it while it lasts. Now, why is everyone traveling to Europe specifically? Well, yes, of course, because of Western culture idealization. Now, don't get me wrong, Europe is a great and beautiful place to travel, but does everyone really have to be in Positano or nowhere else? This is a thing that happens all the time. Popular tourist spots will be overflowing with people, while nearby coastal villages that are not as popular but as beautiful are just getting overlooked. Not even to mention that entire countries or continents might remain overlooked just because they are not popular on Instagram. Everybody wants to have that Eiffel Tower peak go viral, myself included, so obviously all the tourists are going to flock to the same few places in an attempt to get that sweet social media recognition. Which brings me to an interesting point. Are we really traveling for the sake of traveling, or are we traveling to have something to post about? A lot of accounts are getting more active when they are traveling because we feel compelled to share more if we think that it's something special, and traveling definitely feels like something special. Social media is similar and also different to our social circles. I mean, in the past, people used to brag about their holidays to their friends too, but this was by printing photos, putting them in an album, and then inviting their neighbors to dinner to be able to share them. Now you can do it live while you are on that sad vacation. Get back to the hotel room as soon as possible to start editing that content, which honestly I think defeats the whole purpose of the holiday in the first place. But oh well, what won't we do for a little algorithm validation? The European summer trend is deeply rooted in escapism, as any other aesthetic, to be honest. Cottagecore has seen its greatest boom while we were in a confinement because people were not allowed to frolic around in the fields all day. European summer is at its peak popularity when nobody actually affords going there. We like to think that we would be the happiest if we ran away from our stale life, move in a coastal town in Greece, and live out our Mamma Mia dream life. But honestly, the romanticization of European summer is mostly because you're on vacation and not because Europe is the perfect place to live. It's a great place to live, don't get me wrong. I love having free healthcare, but I had to go through 6 months of French administration hell to just get a number printed on a piece of paper and sent to me. Yes, the pyramids at the Louvre look cute in the night, but the metros stink of urine and you have a 95% chance of getting attacked by a rat. Discrimination is alive and very well in all European countries, and so is capitalism and everything it entitles. Although it's not that much on steroids, I guess, like in the US. It shows how hard US life is right now. What they do not realize is that it's pretty bleak over here too, writes Ing Soon. When we spend all our time in a hamster wheel and finally get to have a few days off and it happens to be in Europe, it's not Europe that is making you want to live again. It's the fact that you are finally having a well-deserved break. Europe does not automatically equal a slower life. It's just that your life got slower on vacation. In the UK, seaside towns have the highest antidepressants consumptions because when the peak season ends, the towns become dead. There are no people around, shops and restaurants close, and there is nothing to do. People don't have the income security for almost half of the year and need to live on benefits. But obviously, that is not something we think about when we envision our romanticized life in a seaside town. And another American dream is to move to Europe and continue working for an American company, having an American salary, and living on smaller European expenses. I love this comment on the topic that says, people think Europeans aren't actually aft when it comes to cost of living versus what they pay. Their governments are incentivizing Americans to move there with a USA salary while letting their own citizens starve. I'd be balling making my California salary in Portugal, but someone there with my same job can barely keep a roof over their head. And another very weird thing is that Europe is seen as something homogeneous, when in reality, Europe has many countries in it. It's very diverse. If you say European girl summer, a Danish person will laugh in your face because for them summer is playing frisbee in a park and not sipping spritzes in Ibiza. When we think about European summer style, we basically only see Mediterranean attires, when again, Europe is very big and diverse and people wear very different things in different parts of Europe. There is a popular belief that by wearing European summer clothes, you are going to manifest your European holiday. Europecore is very aspirational as an aesthetic. If we have fairycore more like a childhood comfort aesthetic, Europecore is something that we aspire to have in our life in the future. As we've talked earlier, these kinds of trips are not that affordable to the majority of people, and so the style becomes like a manifestation attempt. It's like a weird Frankenstein child of wearing old money Shein knockoffs in hope that you one day have money, or saying that you are a lucky girl so that lucky things can happen to you. I talked plenty about these topics in my previous videos. In a system in which it is increasingly difficult to achieve our dreams, however much effort we put into it, people are resorting to these kinds of coping mechanisms, which honestly can be dangerous. Influencers are trying to explain their social media success by saying that they just manifested really hard, when in reality, they just were very lucky to be in the right place at the right time, and most probably benefiting from a position of privilege. The manifestation routine is of course accompanied by shopping hauls, which again shows that people are shopping for an event and not for the longevity of their items. Most probably those 20 dresses that were bought with a specific image in mind to be worn to that one Côte d'Azur restaurant will only be worn once and never again. Since people around the world are buying clothes that they think are appropriate to wear only in Europe. Most of them will not wear these frilly clothes on their day-to-day commute to their office job or supermarket grocery shops. Fast fashion brands depend on sending as many clothes as possible to influencers so that more eyeballs get to see them. And influencers, on their part, depend on showing as many clothes as possible to their audience to increase their engagement. Considering again that the majority of us, even if we want to, we cannot afford slow and ethical fashion brands, we are left to just not buy anything ever and just watch all of those holes that are thrown at us through the algorithm all the time, which is pretty hard to do. Or, you can thrift and shop vintage. TikTok will always invent something new as a trend in order to sell you more stuff. One of the latest related trends is Tomato Girl, which apparently is someone that eats tomatoes on vacation, wears frilly dresses, wild curly hair, and sits at the beach all day. We have Bunny Pretty, Reindeer Pretty, and Fox Pretty. Now we have Tomato Girl, Peach Girl, and Strawberry Girl. Keep up, this is very serious stuff. And while it's nice to have a label for a specific style that we may be looking for, it does not mean that you immediately need to change your whole wardrobe to abide by it. And definitely not shopping at brands like Shein. Instead, think about what would you wear on a daily basis. One good rule before buying anything for me is to try to come up with 5 different outfits with what I already own, so that you know for sure when you buy something, you will actually want to wear it. And lastly, if you want to experiment with different styles, opt for buying vintage or secondhand. There are many online shops and platforms where the shopping experience is very nice. If you like my style, you can obviously check out my vintage shop too. I hope you understand that just by being inundated with European summer content does not mean that everybody is suddenly traveling to Europe for their vacation. They are just riding another trend in order to get more views. This trip nowadays need to be booked half a year in advance or even more, and most probably are overly saturated with tourists, making the whole experience hellish. And with the climate change raising the temperatures, and the houses in Europe usually are built for the cold and not for the hot days, with lots of homes also not having air conditioning, all of these influencers' European summer vacations are, I promise you, not as glamorous as it looks like in the pictures. I think we should shop for what we actually intend of wearing in our daily lives and not feel bad we cannot afford vacations in Europe. There are so many beautiful places all around the world, and just because they are not trendy right now does not mean that they are less beautiful or that they deserve less to be visited. I promise you, trends come and go. What was super cringy a few years ago now is trendy, and vice versa. Make your own trends in your life and around you and enjoy your summer. If you like this video, do not hesitate to interact with the buttons below, and see you soon. Bye!